Parshas Terumah, Tovshin Ayin Tes. And just as last week where we said that we went to a whole new part of the Torah, we went to a whole new theme that we began to speak about last week, as quickly as we went into that, the theme of Kabbalah Torah and the Dinim, this week we move away from that and we begin a couple of weeks in a row where we're going to speak about the Mishkan, Hashem's commandment, Hashem's want that He should have a place on this earth, He should have a place amongst us to live. And over the past few years, we've discussed a few different ways to actually look at the Mishkan and the way we should treat the Mishkan and the lessons that it provides for every one of us today. And Nesivos Shalom tells us that when we think about the Mishkan and the Beis HaMikdash, which followed the Mishkan in later years, we need to think of the Beis HaMikdash and the Mishkan in terms of a very small place, just in a little corner of the world, and we need to look at it as a power plant, as something which was much larger, and it produced light and spread so much more Kedusha than the small place that it actually occupied here on the earth. It generated and it pushed out light and Kedusha to the entire world. And that's the way, try to have a picture in your mind of what was a Mishkan. When Hashem said to build a Mishkan, but a Mishkan was just in a little corner of the world. It was an entire world. Maybe they hadn't discovered a lot of the world at that point. But you had an entire world, and the Mishkan was just in some wilderness where they set it up and put it down. But yet, the Mishkan produced so much light and so much Kedusha, where it lifted up the entire Klal Yisrael. And it gave us the strength, really, to function in this dark world. It's a world, a physical world, and the Mishkan infused it and injected the entire world now with spirituality. And really, the Pasuk tells us in our Parsha, the Asuli Mikdash v'shochanti b'soicham, where Hashem says, build for me, or to make for me a Mishkan, a Mikdash, v'shochanti b'soicham. And what does b'soicham mean? Rashi tells us, b'soich kol echad ve'echad. That Hashem is telling us that the Mishkan, the Kedusha, the Mishkan, a dwelling place for Hashem, should be b'soicham, within each and every person. Where the Beis HaMikdash, the Mikdash was here to purify each person so they could have Hashras HaShechina in this very, very physical world. And really, now we got to think a little bit in terms of the Nesivos Shalom. I'm not going to say he goes really into much Kabbalah over here, although at times he does. Nesivos Shalom tells us that there are different things in the world. Now that we discuss this theme of the Mishkan of being like a power plant, of where a small entity could produce so much light and so much Kedusha, there are different things in the world that can actually accomplish this theme, that can actually accomplish this type of thing. We have the Mikdash, as we said, and the Mikdash provided light of Kedusha to the entire world. And there are three things. There is Olam, there is Shana, and there is Nefesh. And so many times, and Nesivos Shalom goes back to that, and when he comes up with a concept, when he comes up with an idea, he wants this idea to apply to the world, to the year, and to the nefesh, to people. And we're going to explain what we mean by that. He says the Mikdash we just mentioned was a place in the Olam, a place in the world, which provided light that spread out to the entire world. In the theme of Shana, which is in time, Nesivos Shalom tells us, as we spoke a little bit last week also, that Shabbos does that. The Kedusha that emanates from Shabbos is able to inject Kedusha into the neshama of a Yid, as we said, no matter where you're holding, no matter what madrega, no matter what level a person is at, Shabbos can come ahead and inject Kedusha into your neshama. And that is another thing that could produce so much from just one day of the week, from Shabbos, and that is in Olam. The opportunity that we get every single Shabbos and every week to return to Hashem from anywhere that we have been. And we spoke about this, really, we're not going to get into too much now. We spoke about this really at length last week in Parshas Mishpatim. And then there's Nefesh, the last thing that the Nesivos Shalom brings, right? We have Olam, we have Shana, and we have Nefesh. Nefesh is the light and Kedusha of the Torah. With the Torah, which is a totally spiritual thing, the Torah is something where Hashem gave us the Torah to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, where our soul should innately be able to connect to Hashem. In this world of darkness, the Torah lights the way, and the Torah, through our neshama, is able to produce a different person. It's able to uplift a person. So we have the Torah, we have Shabbos, and we have the Mikdash. All three of these things were put into the world to have a totally much larger than life, profound influence on us and the world. And really, the common theme of all three of these things, of the Olam and Shana and Nefesh, all these three things that we said have like superpowers to light the way for us. And the Nesivos Shalom, who we say is always very confidence building and very realistic. And he says the common theme in all three of these things is that we see from these three things that Hashem is realistic and very kind to us. And you know how we see that? He says we know, and Hashem knows, that we live in a world full of challenges and temptations, and yet, at the same time, as Hashem gives us the Mikdash, and gives us Shabbos, and gives us the Torah, Hashem knows that we live in a world of temptation, and a world of challenges. And Hashem gave us the ability within these gifts to grow in stages. It's not magic. And we see from these three things alone. Look at the Beis HaMikdash. The Beis HaMikdash, as we know, had the Azara, and after the Azara, we had the Heichal, and after the Heichal, we had the Kodesh HaKadoshim, the holiest place. Hashem didn't just put down a Beis HaMikdash and say the entire thing is the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Right away, 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds, and you have to be that way. Hashem didn't say that. Hashem created an Azara. He set it up, an Azara, a Heichal, a Kodesh HaKadoshim. So within the Mikdash, within that lesson of the power plant, Hashem is teaching us that you can grow in stages. Take steps. That's the way you grow. That's the way a person does their life. And in Shabbos, we know there are 3 different madregas on Shabbos. We have the Suda of Leil Shabbos where the Kedusha comes in. We have Shabbos morning, the Suda of the morning of Shabbos, where we're ready into the Shabbos. And then, of course, as all Hasidim know, when it comes to Shalashidis, when it comes to Avin, we come to Shalashidis. So we're at a totally different level where the Shabbos takes us over. Once again, Hashem shows us there's an entranceway, there's Shabbos, and then there's reaching the ultimate Kedusha of Shabbos. And really the same thing is by Torah. By Torah, we have first Sur Meirah, where a person has to understand, first let me work on the things that are negative, on my midas. Let me make myself a person that is able to learn the Torah. Let me be Sur Meirah. Let me become a person who does not have kas, who doesn't get angry. Let me be a person who has respect for others. Let me go first in Sur Meirah. The next step after that is Asay Tov. First is Sur Meirah, work on your midas, become a person who can learn Torah. Then Asay Tov, let's do the mitzvahs. And once we have that, then we go to V'atem Tiuli Mamleches Koyanim V'Goy Kodosh. You're not a Mamleches Koyanim and a Goy Kodosh overnight. Hashem gave us the Torah, right? Hashem gave us the Torah. Not that overnight we should become tzaddikim. Not that overnight we should finish everything. No, it goes in stages. Sur Meirah, V'asei Tov, do the mitzvahs, and then V'atem Tiuli Mamleches Koyanim V'Goy Kodosh. So within all 3 of these themes, within all 3 of these things that Hashem created the world to produce and to shed so much light and to be a power plant for the world, Hashem taught us the same lesson. Do it in stages. Grow in stages. Start continue, and then you could finish. Hashem gave us all three of these things: the Mikdash, the Torah, Mikdash, the Shabbos, and the Torah, but also with the understanding and the gift that we can grow and we can climb in stages. We do it in steps. And it's our Parsha, Parshas Terumah, that gives us a hint as how each individual should go about this growing. You know how you do it? How do you go about growing in stages? Every person is different. Says the pasuk, "V'yikchu li terumah, me'ez kol ish asher yidvenu liboy." Whatever you want to give from your heart, then tikchu es trumasi. To give truma from Hashem, you know from what? Asher yidvenu liboy. Don't look at anybody else. Asher yidvenu liboy. Know what your heart desires. Know what your challenges are, and take those things and serve Hashem with those things. No two people are the same. Me'ez kol ish asher yidvenu liboy. What you know in your heart, you have to work on. What you have to do. From that, tikchu es trumasi. That is how you grow. Take your desires, your challenges, and serve Hashem with those things. And today, unfortunately, if we're going to speak realistically, we know that most of us, some may be on that level, but we don't automatically feel the superpower and Kedusha of Shabbos and Torah. Halavai, we should all be on that level, but very few people can actually feel and understand that actual huge Kedusha of Shabbos and Torah. But the one of those things that we all have, and every single person has, is that Me'ez kol ish asher yidvenu liboy. That's our Parsha. Parshas Terumah is telling us that you could still have the Asuli Mikdash. Shabbos, you have to work on. Torah, you have to work on. Everything works in stages. But Me'ez kol ish asher yidvenu liboy, Mikdash, to build a Mikdash, the Pasuk tells us, V'chein tasu, and Rashi tells us, L'doiros. L'doiros means that lesson is not just for the time and the generation of the Mishkan. L'doiros, everybody has to know, Asher yidvenu liboy, what your heart can do, what you feel you were put on this world for. Every person knows their challenges and why they're here, what they have the most difficulty with. Asher yidvenu liboy, that tikchu es trumasi. That's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to see from you. And the reason we're in this world is to create our own mikdash, to light the way, but with your own individuality, without judging and looking at everybody else. They have their own challenges. Your neighbor, your family, your friends, you may be related, but they all have their own challenges. And you have to take your Yetzer Hara, your drives, your things, and you serve Hashem with that. That is V'asuli Mikdash, V'shachanti B'saycham, V'saych kol echad ve'echad, each and every individual in their own way.